Hello everybody, time for another game. Standard game coming up, so issuing a seek, 20. It'll start whenever it starts. Let's get a rating graph up here, always on top, and we're ready to go. Okay, so a little bit of break the last few days. Now we're going to go against a 1300 rated player. Trusty French defense. Right. As noted in previous videos, the e4 pawn is now hanging. He swaps it. We're going to go d4 here and be in another exchange French. Suicide is not an option, though will definitely be considered. Alright. Anything to d4 here? What if you don't just need to play d4 yourself if you're white in order to stop d4 from black? Probably not. d4, c5, that kind of stuff. I think we're just fooling around at that point. d4, knight moves c5. Or yes, d4, knight moves c5 was okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play knight f6, I guess. Get castled ASAP. See if there will be any moves by white to punish. Another problem with the exchange variation in my mind is there just isn't a lot of the times. There just isn't a lot of ways to go wrong that I know about. When I look around on, say, Shredder's online database of openings, and I look through French defense openings, there's so many transpositions. Just a kind of a whole bunch of moves that are okay, none that are really stellar, and no real outliers for the opponent. So basically, just all these sorts of moves just kind of transposed into one another, and it's just a mess. Very difficult to learn theory for me. Okay, so my standard here is bishop d6. Now we find a place for the light squared bishop along this diagonal. Likely f5 or g4. By the way, I changed my setup just a little bit. I don't know if you can tell a difference if you've watched the videos. The pieces are a little bit further away from the edges of the squares. To me, I did that and it immediately increased the visual clarity of the positions for me just a little bit. Just the pieces so close together before, it was just very difficult to distinguish in some positions. They just kind of ran together. It was just kind of blotchy or jumbled in a way. This has cleared up things a lot for me.
Check.
So I guess we're going to bishop e6, huh? I don't think there's a whole lot of advantages to that move. The queen isn't very good on e2, for instance, I don't think. So in my mind, this is a waste of a tempo, just because I think the queen can go elsewhere, and I'm going to develop my light squared bishop anyway, and e6 is not terrible. I don't think it's where I ultimately want the bishop, but it does a job there. So I think that's fine. I'm going to go knight b d7 eventually. I'm going to castle. I'm going to play c6 if necessary, which it usually is. These are all just typical plans that I have in the French, the exchange French. One of the reasons for knight bd7 is there are a lot of cases where white can get a knight to e5. And now see, this is going to offer to trade off a piece I don't particularly care for anyway and give me another center pawn. A backwards center pawn, but a center pawn. Alright, so let's go over the options here. The options are ignore it and castle. And there's no well, it's protected anyway. The options are ignore it and castle, queen d7, not queen e7. Queen d7 puts my queen on a square that I would like my knight to go to eventually. So I'm probably ruling that out. If, not necessarily though, let's look at ignoring and castling. If I ignore it and castle, we have probably knight takes, otherwise I'm not sure what the knight's doing. So castles, knight takes, pawn takes. Then the king is on an exposed diagonal, but we're semi-closed in the middle anyway. Then I would want to fight for control of e5, because that would be an important advance at some point. So that seems like a reasonable plan, and I'm going to have some control over it with knight b d7. I've got the bishop at d6 pointing there. I could potentially bring this rook over here. He could control pretty easily with f4 and get some good pressure on e5. So I think I'm going to ignore it in castle, because queen d7, knight takes, queen takes, and then I'm in the same situation again. I just don't like my position as well. All right. Now, if he doesn't take here, rook e8 could be good. If he doesn't take here, do I move the bishop? Just simply retreat it back to d7 here. Or I could play rook e8, then if he does take, I can take with the rook. And things look a little hairy for him. Not necessarily are because of bishop e3, but they could be hairy. Okay, obviously we recapture here. Did I just lose a pawn? How did I not even look at that? No, I didn't lose a pawn because of queen. Rook e8. Oh, yes I did, because it's check. Oh my word. Okay. I think I'm still going to be fine.
Check.
So, should I... this? Alright, now if he takes on d5, with the knight I take... He's going to lose his queen, or a piece if he does that. I can't believe I just hung a pawn. I mean, wow, blind as a bat. I think I'm fine here, and he's going to be chased around quite a bit as a result of this. And my development may prove to be more than adequate as compensation. So what will he do here? If he plays knight takes, and he did, my feeling is that loses a piece. Knight takes, queen takes, bishop b4 check wins the queen. So is there any in-between move after knight takes that's going to cause a problem? I don't see it if there is. Knight takes and then bishop c4 maybe? I don't see why that's a problem. Alright. Should just relax just a second here. I'm pretty sure this wins, but is there anything I can do? I don't think so. This just looks like it wins.
Check.
Probably resign worthy. Quick game today. Hopefully. I can't see why. I really don't see anything. I don't see any response to this. Even bishop here, I should just take the bishop first, right? If pawn c3, I'll go ahead and take it. Here, I just take it. Bishop takes, he still has to respond.
Check.
think c3 was better because at least he gets a piece out of it. And that should be the game. That's a clean queen right there for a pawn. So the rest of the game will just be shoring up. Really not sure why I shouldn't just take that pawn. Though it might be smarter to go ahead and develop my knight. Let's look at some other moves. Queen here gets off the line. Why don't I just develop the knight? Let's just develop the knight, then I'll get off the row of the bishop or the rook, and I have all kinds of threats and possibilities. You know what? I have rook f2 here. If I go rook f2, and let's imagine king e1. Is this just mate? Well, rook f2, he would go here. Let's just develop now. I'm not going to be in any hurry. I've got multiple pawn threats right now. I've got d4 pawn hanging, I've got a2 pawn hanging, and I've got the f2 pawn hanging. And I also have the g2 pawn hanging if he develops the bishop. And if he tries to fianchetto, then the rook hangs. So, in addition to just being down a full queen, the position really stinks, and his king is stuck in the center. So there's no real rush to take that piece, though if I calculated, I could probably find a good win. Now I am going to take it, and I have multiple places to attack.
Check.
I can move in with tempo to anywhere he's going to move. If he moves to this side, it's death. If he moves to this side, I just take the c-pawn with check. Is there anything? Well, no, I don't because of the bishop. Silly me. But this is fine too. It keeps that same tempo. And he can't block easily. He'll probably just have to go further into the corner. But is there anything better? I'm not going to spend just a whole lot of time looking for better, because pretty much everything at this point is good enough. So this won't be too interesting on video, but whatever, you know. Alright, here I want to just almost force the trade by rook a d8. Rook a d8 looks pretty good. And I mean, he has no counterplay at all. I'll just have to watch my back rank weakness at some point. But that's really the only possible counterplay he could have. That rook's protected twice. So it's going to be awfully awkward to get off of that file for him. And probably best if he, I don't know. I have no idea what's best, but maybe blocking with the bishop might do something. I mean, I probably just play knight b4 at that point. Right, so knight b4 here. I'm wondering if I play rook takes. I was wondering if maybe pinning it might help, but it doesn't really. I wonder also, I might just play g6 just to be completely safe and make sure there's absolutely no counterplay. Man, is knight d4 any better? I don't really think so. I'll tell you what, let's do. I'm just going to play g6 just to stop any counterplay. Give myself the g7 square for air. He doesn't have anything that can attack along that dark diagonal. So there's no real good reason not to do that. Stop all possible counterplay. And we'll just slowly move in for the kill. Because it's just a waiting game now. I'm not going to take a lot of time. I'm sorry about that. My stupid email popped up again and got right in the way. I tried to clear it and instead I brought it up. Shouldn't matter too much. So, just waiting it out. Oh, if you're interested in personal life things at all, I found out that today that I'm having a son in November. We knew we were having a child in November, but we didn't know whether it was a boy or girl. Really, why not just take on f2? Or I could move into f3 and cause some issues with bishop takes and then recapture and queen takes. I think I prefer that. So let's do that. The pawn's not valuable. The tactics are. So as I was saying, found out this morning via ultrasound that I'm having a boy. It'll be our second boy. Unfortunately, only one of them will be still with us. We lost our first child. And hopefully this one will go better. The first one had all kinds of complications anyway. Alright, so here I take on D1. Rook takes D1.
Check.
He'll have to recapture with either piece, and whichever piece he recaptures with, he should lose the other one. So anyway, it's kind of exciting and sort of bittersweet time as well. But I really don't bring that up for any particular reason other than this game is long gone, and trying to keep it interesting during the rest of the video, so maybe somebody won't turn it off. So anyway, we found that out this morning. Pretty exciting. Alright, so again, rook takes here, queen takes bishop. And now we just take the bishop. Right? Otherwise, well, we could take the rook, couldn't we? That seems safer, doesn't it? Let's see. I actually wasn't expecting that reply. Maybe I should have been. What about knight d4? I need to take my time here. Knight d4. He's going to have to... He could again take the rook. Wow, did I just lose my rook? I mean, this isn't too big a deal, I don't think, but... I thought for sure I was fine here. Alright, queen takes... Yeah, no, this is fine. Queen takes the bishop. He can't take with the queen. This is fine. What's wrong with me?
Check.
Jumping in shadows, not concentrating on what I should be concentrating on. Alright, so this square's off limits, so one of these two. Yeah, okay, these two squares are protected by the knight. So rook to f whatever 3 should be checkmate. And voila.
Check.
Okay, guys. Sorry, opponent was a little bit weak. I'm going to tell him thanks for the game. Say thanks for the game. This is my standard post game. Good luck. And hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time. Or wait, you know what? I'm not going to end the video yet. What I'm going to do is copy the PG into my... since this was just a short video, I may go over some things or just look at some things and make sure I didn't miss anything. Let me close that down and update it later. He says, good game. I'm going to open Skid. And if you don't use Skid and you don't have Chessmaster, listen to me, Chessbase, get Skid right now. So I am going to go my fixed standard games, and I'm going to import one PGN game, and there it is. Import, close, clear out the times because I hate that. And now I don't really know. I don't know if it's in clip base. Let's go look. List no games, so because I switched to clip base. At the end here, that's not who I played. Is there one more game? No. So what I can do is look at the notation, which is correct, and I can go game, save, add new game. So I'm going to say today's date was the event date also. I'm going to classify the game ECO-wise. There's no round, and I can save it. And I've now added that game to my database. So there it is. And that's the way I do that normally. I know you can't see the whole thing, and I'm not going to change that right now. What I can do is step through the game using this. Was I black? I was black. So stepping through the game real quick, just to kind of throw some things on here. I'll add some comments or... See, I'm going to put a little question mark by this. So I'm going to open up the comment editor over here, which you can't quite see. And I'm going to put dubious move. And I'm going to say queen isn't as useful on e2 as other squares, comma, possibly. And I'm going to store that. And I'm going to keep stepping through the game, and you can see a miniature version of the game over here. This is where I'm going to save the comments. This is a little comment box which you can only see the edge of and a couple of the possible things. Again, I don't know about this g5 thing. This is fine. I lost a pawn here. So maybe I should go back to right here where I castled and put poor move. Maybe blunder, but I mean, I got some dynamism out of this, or some possible compensation. So I'm just going to put poor move, loses a pawn to, well, loses a pawn. I'm just going to leave it at that since that's actually what happened. I'm going to store that, and I'm going to go forward. Obviously he played, whoops, I actually put that on the wrong place, didn't I? Clear that, and clear this as well. Sorry about that. That's where I should say question mark. Poor move, loses a pawn, and I'll store that, and I'll go forward in the game. And here we go. I think that's all fine. And now this is the disastrous move for him. This loses a full piece at least. Loses knight to knight takes f6. And in parentheses, I'm going to put queen can't recapture due to bishop b4 check discovery. All right. And I'm going to store that. And when he does recapture it, that's obviously a blunder. Obviously loses queen. Loses queen to bishop b4 check. And store it. And really that's probably all the annotation that needs to happen in this game. Thought the rest of this was pretty straightforward. And then that's mate. So that's the annotation of that game. I just put a few things over here. You can see most of it, I think. And actually, I could probably slide it over a little bit for you. That's probably pretty good there. It doesn't matter. You still can't see the whole thing, but you can get the idea. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save and replace game. And I've already done all that. So what I did when I did that is now that game with annotation is saved. So when I go and look at this, this game is now in my database, and all these other games are too. And you can actually see the number of comments over here if you go over just a little bit further. So anyway, Skid is really, 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 really good for free and can do a lot of things that you didn't just see in this. There's some videos on chessvideos.tv showing you how to use it. I highly, highly, highly recommend you check it out if you haven't. It's very, very good. And there are enough adjectives and adverbs in my previous 2 sentences to kill a horse. I apologize for that. I'm really not selling anything, but I do believe in the product. All right, that's all for today, guys. Leave comments, please, and I'll see you next time.